So, hi everybody. I've decided to put a video together for the Victory Kraken Pedal, and I know there's an immense amount out there already. I know because I've checked them out myself from people like Rabea Massaad, and was thoroughly entertained from Jennison's video that he did on the frequently asked questions video for the Victory Kraken heads and pedals and things, and it's just there's a lot out there. But the reason why I wanted to put one together was because the reason why I'm using one on my board, so it's a Victory V1 Kraken Pedal, is simply because I do lots of different types of music on the instrumental side right through to progressive metal. And when I was using my rig that you just see here, which is the Victory V30 head Mark 1 with the Carving Legacy run out in stereo, which is from the pedal board, which I'll just put in that bit of the screen. That's the board, right? So when I'm running out in that, the sound, as much as it's wonderful, and I really love the sound as well, it's just not catered really well to metal. It's got quite a lot of flub and wobbly bottom end to it, which hasn't proven to be a wonderful rhythm sound. So then it took me to reviewing online different types of drives and pedals, and obviously I'm already a massive fan of Victory amps. I decided to check out the Kraken and the Kraken range. So for this first experience with the Kraken, I've decided to go with the most budget-friendly option and get the new one at £199 to put that onto the board, which we can see just down here. So this got put onto the board yesterday by Chris at Custom Pedalboards. He did an absolutely amazing job, as he's done with all of the pedals. Just move that lead out of the way though, it looks a bit messy now. So yeah, and it's completely transformed. I'm not saying this lightly, it is completely transformed the sound of my rhythm section. Now I am still going to be using the Victory V30 drive for my solo channel, but what I've got set up today from the board is basically an A-B. So what my rhythm sound was versus what it is. So what you'll hear from this is that a lot of the bottom end has been taken out, but not in a negative way, in a very good way for the style of rhythm that I'm doing for the Megadeth tribute band, Megadeth UK. And it's just very important to be able to nail that sound. And now, amongst with many other types of sounds that I can get from that board, I can now fully nail this without needing to change my stereo rig. So let's just have a quick listen to how the rhythm sound was before. So this is what my rhythm channel sound was like before adding the Kraken pedal onto the board. Alright, so that was the sound. Now what I've got, to be completely transparent with you on this board, I've got the Mimic stereo pedal. I've also got in the loop the EP booster. The tone of the EP booster is completely off. It's just down, it just colorizes the sound in a really nice way. And then other than that, it's straight out of all of this and into the Victory V30 drive side. It's the G2's switching the channels basically for me on the amp. So that was that sound. When I switch on to patch 1, which I prepared for today, what's going to be activated then is the V1 Kraken pedal, but the V30's clean channel, and the gain setting that I got for that is around about 1 o'clock, just past 12, just around about 1 o'clock up here. And I found that with experimenting that game with the best cut for both being able to use clean sounds and elsewise. So let's just have a little listen to that one. So here's what it was, and here's what happens when the the Kraken pedal is activated. So you can hear it's bright, it's harsh, because I've got it set for that. You know, what we can do is alter the tone of the pedal on the Kraken, because you've basically got on there, you've got volume, you've got gain, you've got bass, you've got middle and treble. So you can completely scope the EQ to tailor the sound that you want. For me, for what I'm doing, I need to sit at a certain frequency level in the mix when on stage with the band. So on the previous rhythm channel, for a lot of it, I'm on the same kind of frequency range as the bass player. So a lot of what I'm doing is getting lost, both for my ears on stage and the rest of the band, and also most importantly the crowd that are coming to watch. So this pedal has enabled me to not have to switch amps or, you know, destroy my stereo rig to compensate for the foot of the low end. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a bit more of an in-depth look into the Kraken pedal for you. So you've seen what my sound was, what my sound's become, and that's where I'm at with the pedal. But just for those of you that are curious what scope we've got with these EQs, I'm just going to have a little play around with them, which I'll bring up onto screen so you can see exactly what I'm doing with the sound, and just check it out from there. So at the minute I've got the Mimic pedal on, which I'm going to deselect. So as you can see on the loop here, I'm going to take the EP booster out as well. So we're literally just listening, out of all of these loops, it's just the Kraken pedal that's on right now. So I've got, at the minute, the bass is set to around 10 o'clock, the middle is set to around 2 o'clock, and the treble's pretty much about the same. So without the colorization, just the raw pedal straight into the Victory amp, you've got this. Which sounds really, really good. If you think, if I take that out, look, here's the clean sound of the amp. And just one pedal, we activate the Kraken pedal. So it's an amazing tone from just one pedal. So let's have a mess around with the EQ here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to back the treble off, keep the mid where it is, and we're going to increase the bass response. So I've got the bass in the middle set to around about 2 o'clock, and the treble set to around about 11 o'clock now. It just drops out that bite in the sound, but I like that for the set list. If it was my normal room sound, I wouldn't have as much bite, but for the style that we're doing with the Megadeth side of things with the thrash and the progressive metal, it just works better. So that's with the gain. Again, the gain is hardly anywhere, you know, if I compare this to most amps I've had experiences where the gain for me would normally be sitting around about 2 or 3 o'clock before it gets oversaturated. With this, it's just between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. Volume's completely central at Unity. Let's have a mess around with some of these dials. Sorry, it just sounds so good in this room today. Basically, we've got the bass full, mid scooped to around 9 o'clock, and the treble is boosted up to 3. Gain's still exactly where it is. You know, just I'm almost lost for words, but it doesn't, if you speak to people that know me, would tell you that doesn't normally happen. So yeah, anyway, what I'm gonna try and see how this can clean up. I've really only had this on the board for about 24 hours now, so I've really not had much time to experiment with it at all. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to set all of the EQ to 12 o'clock. I've taken gain completely down, volume's still at 12 o'clock where it was. And let's just bleed in. So let's just have a little listen to what happens here. So I've got the volume completely up at the minute. So it cleans up quite nice. Not very, for me, that is, I wouldn't tend to use that. Let's try and dial it into 9 o'clock. I'll go on the complete net pickup. So it's given me kind of like a 60s, 70s, early 70s classic rock kind of sound. For roll off and then go on to position 4 on the pickup selection. Just leave the volume in. So yeah, you know, it can do quite a lot of different things, this pedal, and again, I'm just getting used to it. I'll be not really dialing the gain back down on the pedal at all, to be completely transparent with you all. It's going to basically be set it and forget it and just leave it on the board, mainly for the, you know, either a little bit of recording or session work for where it's needed, but it's really just going to be used live on stage for the Megadeth gigs, and it's, you know, it's going to definitely do the job. What I will do, I'll just basically do another A and B again, just with these sounds so you can hear what the sound of the V30 is in comparison to the other one now. So I'll just set it back to where I had it. So again, gain just past 12 o'clock, between 12 and 1. Bass around there, middle, treble boosted. Swap out a little bit of bass actually. So yeah, so then we'll go back to what the sound is that I've got from the pedal with the mimic pedal in and also the EP booster. And then we'll get this. And then back on to what my sound was. Again, I love that sound. But again, it's just not bright enough for what I need it for. So that's where we're at with that. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add in some reverb and delay, because you can see that they're on here now. These are wired up, as you'll see from the back, they're wired up in stereo, and I've got 2 amps in use. It's not a straightforward setup, but I'll try my best to explain it as simply as possible. So I'm going into the patch bay box just over here. That will then go into the G2. I've got all of my pedals wired up in separate loops, starting with the Mimic. Then we've got the SPC compressor, the EP booster, the Kraken, and then I've got the dual fusion 1 and 2. So there's 2 sides to that. And then I've got a spur loop at the minute. I'll be filling that with something, I'm sure. Then I've got my chorus, and then delay and reverb, which is what's converted into stereo. Now on the out of G2, mine's wired a little bit differently because I've got a noise gate pedal activated, which is by Sentry. If I take the 2 outs, the first out, as standard, would go into the Victory, and then I'm using the effects loop of the Victory amp to come back into the board. The second out from G2 is going into the input, not the effect return, the input of the legacy head. A lot of people who've run stereo rigs with 2 amps would tend to run to the effects return of the second amp. I tried that, and because I'm running 2 different wattages from nearly 40 watts and 100 watts between these 2, what I found is with that is that I have to use, with the legacy anyway, a volume pedal and set it just right. So that's not ideal. But also, even when I can get that balance, or did get that balanced, it was just mimicking, for me, the EQ of the first amp. What I like about running into the front of the carving is that I can set the EQ, which is only using the clean channel, obviously on here, but I can set the EQ differently to what I've got on the Victory head. So then between this side of the cab and that side of the cab, I'm getting a complete blend of sharpness and warmth. And when I pair the two together, it just sounds massive. And I really enjoy the sound of it. Again, on all different types of sounds, but you can really hear it a lot more if I show you and switch some of these amps off. So down here is output 1 and output 2. I'm going to switch output 2 off, so that'll just leave us with the Victory. Take these off for a second. And then I'll take that off and show you 2. So they're all separate. They're similar, but they are different. When I add both in, you get this. So that's how I've got them wired. Now if I activate in, let's go with Reverb first. I'll go with that one. What are we on at the minute? Let's make it a little bit more ambient in the mix. Increase the decay. And put in a little bit of modulation, so I get the benefit of that sound. Now this, it's going to be mega and it's going to be massive, and it's also driven as well. So it's more of a fun sound to experiment with. It's not one that I'd use live in the Megadeth setting, but it is one that I'd use live on playing my own original material. You know, if I've written any lines or songs that would have this sound in. So let's have a quick listen to how that sounds. I love that. You just get all of this leftover bleed of the reverb when you've got the decay set so high, and because of the analog drive-through on the Strymon pedals, you still regain the clarity of the notes that you put in front of all of this sound. So it's not, even when you have a lot of effect, you're still able to hear the new notes that are getting put through. I'll still stick on this setting. I'm just going to go into the bridge pickup just to get a bit more bite from it, and we'll see what sounds we can get out from there. Let's back off the mix a bit on that and take off the decay. I'm going to take that off, put in some delay now and see what comes out from that. Got quite a long repeat on that, and I'm going to switch to dual delay on the timeline. Mix about the same as the other, repeats about there. So the modulation sounds like on that, about halfway up. So yeah, so this is again where the stereo pedals really come into their own, because it's mic'd up today. It was very important for me that I wanted to make sure that the sound of the Kraken pedal with this rig is as it sounds in the room or on stage. So I could have DI'd into my Tune-Outs boxes and put that into my desk and recorded with the Tune-Out software. And it does sound great, I use it for recording, but I really wanted to make a big effort and get the cabs mic'd up. So I come down to Dirt Recording Studios based in North Wales, and I do quite a little bit of work with Dan from Dirt, and he's a lovely guy to work with, and he's been very kind enough to help get me set up today with two mics on either side of this, so that we can really truly hear left and right for what you guys will be hearing while you're either on the road or sat at home or on the bus or wherever you might be while you're listening or watching this. But if you're just using the phone audio, then that's not good. You need to use some proper speakers or some decent headphones to truly benefit from the sound that we can hear in the room today. Let's have a little look and listen and check out of this sound anyway. Massive loads of decay on there, and I'm going to be more indulgent and add in the reverb now and have a little bit of fun. Alright guys, well look, thanks very much for those of you that made it to the end of the video. It's so much fun for me to be able to have this on the board ready for the gigs. Cannot thank Victory enough for making the pedal. I will just make it clear, I've used my own money to buy the pedal. They've not asked me to do this demo. I've done it because I think it's a great product, and I also think it's a good topic to share with guitarists at the moment who want to tighten up the bottom end and get the tone that they might need from an amp that might not be necessarily suited to it. It really does do the job.